All right, welcome to the last of the good old boys with Blaine Young. Billy Shreve's here with me, and we're broadcasting live at Studio 401 at 401 North Market Street. So you're always welcome to pop in and see us. Each week we talk to people who have helped make Frederick what it is, hear their stories, kind of get their background, where they've been, what they've seen, and also we talk to people who will make Frederick what it will become in the future. And our distinguished guest tonight is, should I say Lieutenant Tom Chase or just Tom Chase now?
Retired, yeah.
Retired, right?
Retired lieutenant.
Yeah, that's right.
Tom Chase, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Always good to be with you.
Well, hey, and I want to thank you. And I want to talk a little bit about, because the Chase family, I mean, your dad was I heard when I used to drive, kind of the name I came up with is the last of the good old boys, because I used to drive Doc McClellan around and knew Jimmy Grimes and Walter Mills, but Doc McClellan used to talk about your dad all the time.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were neighbors. They lived on Rockwell, and we lived on West College on the corner, which became Rockwell.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was South College Parkway, and then it became
So you
Rockwell.
were neighbors with Doc.
Yeah, we were.
The McClellan family was 215 Rockwell, I believe.
And Barbara and I were classmates at St. John's.
Oh, wow.
Growing up. So.
And your dad, how long did your dad practice?
He practiced, I guess, 50 years.
50 years.
Yeah.
He was attorney?
He was a doctor.
Doctor.
His first partner was Dr. Eddie Thomas,
That's
who
correct.
was Eddie Thomas, the state delegate's father, and also R.J. Thomas's father. Dr. Eddie Thomas was the first, from what I've been told, the first person to practice surgery in Frederick. And Dad had told me that when he came to town, when someone had surgery, the medical doctor would be the anesthesiologist, and he didn't want to do that because he didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, that's a
all
big
they used
step.
to do was just keep pouring the ether into the cotton.
Yeah.
and when the ether took effect enough to the point where they could get inside and do stuff, that's kind of how they did it, from what Dad told me. So, but Dad's practice was Dr. Eddie Thomas at first, whom I never knew Dr. Eddie Thomas. He passed before I was born. And then Dr. Pre Sr. was his partner when they were practicing down on Church Street across from the People's Drugstore in the Kemp building.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Dr. Pre Sr. got close to retirement, they moved up to Tall House Avenue, and Dr. Pre Jr., who just passed, joined Dad in the practice, and ultimately George Smith joined him in the practice. And also with them at that time was a gentleman by the name of Dick Reynolds, who stayed. I remember him, especially from the tennis court. He ultimately took an academic job down in Florida. And the interesting thing about Dr. Reynolds, which I just heard about, was he was the physician that desegregated Hopkins Hospital.
Really?
Wow.
The story is that it was a busy weekend night, and they ran out of beds in what they called the Negro ward, in the black section. And Dr. Reynolds basically said, well, then they're going to go elsewhere. Where we've got a bed, they're going to go. Yeah. And that story was to be told on NPR, but Dr. Reynolds ultimately passed away a couple days before that was to air. But yeah, and then Dr. Smith, George Smith, was Dad's partner, and then Dr. Kaufman. And he was an internist, which meant that he diagnosed when other physicians, the country physicians that practiced in Thurmont, Emmitsburg, Jefferson, Brunswick, they had a patient that needed to be hospitalized. Dad would take care of them, and then when they got better, then Dad would turn them back over to Dr. Bryce or Dr. Pruitt or Dr. McCorkle or Dr. Cadle.
So with your dad being a doctor in the town of Frederick, that was still, it was growing, don't get me wrong, but he saw a lot of Frederick families. There wasn't, a tremendous amount of doctors. I'm sure there were plenty to choose from, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying Frederick then was a lot different than Frederick today. to certain services, the doctor.
Sure. With him as a young child, as I
Yeah.
I mean, services when you leave a kid in the car now. But I mean, I would ride along with him. That's how I got to spend time with him. We'd ride on farms and out into the different parts of the community, and he would do his house call, and then I'd just sit in the car and wait for him.
Met a lot of people.
Yeah.
And you talked about desegregation. I really didn't even understand it at the city level until I became involved with being a member and an active member of the Mountain City Elks Lodge 382 on 173 West All Saints Street, because that goes back to Dr. Bourne.
Right.
When that was the hospital, because while it was then called the City Hospital, I believe is what they called it, they would admit blacks, but they wouldn't allow the African-American doctors to wait on their patients. So that was a 10-bed hospital there
on St. Street.
On St. Street.
Right.
And then it was actually Dr. Bourne's son, which was the first to get rights at the city hospital to wait on or to see his patients.
Right.
And then that's when that's 100 years ago, and that's how Dr. Bourne was a member of the Elks, and the Elks started there on West All Saints Street, and that property and the historic value of that property. So it's kind of interesting, because right now you walk into the lobby of the hospital, there's a painting and picture of Dr. Bourne, but nobody kind of really connects the dots of why that painting and picture is there.
Oh, it's actually,
So you grew up in Frederick.
Yeah. Yeah. And Dad, being a doctor, allowed me to get a job working at that hospital when I was a teenager as an orderly.
Was it FMH then? What was it then?
It was Frederick Memorial.
Yeah.
I worked with a lot of very wonderful nurses in the emergency room. There was Marlene Hartman and Sandy Mastrino.
Wow, Sandy Mastrino. Mick Mastrino's wife.
And a lady who was the clerk by the name of Annie Harley. And we worked the evening shift. And you got to remember that was back in the days before trauma centers. So whatever happened in Frederick County wound up coming through the door over there on 7th Street. And it didn't matter how bad it was. It was ours to take care of. And I learned a lot.
And I'm sure, another good person to have on the podcast one day would be Chip Jewell, because people don't realize that 911 wasn't, you called the fire station or the state police.
Sure.
And if someone had passed away, you called the funeral home. I mean, it wasn't like today where you called 911. You had to call around.
Sure. Well, some of those rides that I used to take with Dad was for him to go pronounce somebody dead when they passed away. And, because it was all on a call system. I mean, when you had call and the phone rang, you had to get in the car and you had to go.
Yeah, but people don't realize you had a fire. You might call Independent Hose Company. If someone answered, great. If not, called Juniors. If not, you called Unite. You kept calling until someone picked the phone up.
Absolutely.
I mean, 911 wasn't
first available.
Actually, I think the first term was it Central Alarm? Was that what they used?
County Central Alarm.
They said Central Alarm. So you get out of high school, you went to Frederick High, I'm assuming.
No, I went to St. John's.
Oh, St. John's. I'm
St. John's.
Where'd you go for elementary?
St. John's on 2nd Street.
Okay.
All the way through.
All the way through.
Yeah.
And then where'd you go to college? Where'd you go to off to school?
To the Mount.
Went to Mount St. Mary's.
Yeah.
And then came back and decided you wanted to be a police officer, or no?
That's right. Yeah, I graduated in May of 77, and the police academy started in July of 77. And I got to tell you, Blaine, your father had a lot to do with the fact that I ultimately got hired.
Really?
Because
he would have been mayor in 74.
Right. And I applied and I was deemed to be acceptable, but I wasn't high enough on the list. And so my initial letter was thanks, but no thanks. But,
so who did that though?
But
I mean, was there a physical? Was there a I guarantee
process.
So what was the process then?
You applied, you took a very rudimentary entry level test, and then they did a background on you. And as I said, my first letter was sorry, but you're not high enough on the list. Well, then what happened was the academy is scheduled to start on July the 5th, which was a Monday. Well, on July the 2nd, an officer resigned, and the chief asked your dad whether he wanted that position filled or not, and your dad.
Now, was that Chief Charlie Main at the time, or Chief Dick Ashton?
It was Chief Ashton.
Okay.
And your dad said, give the job to Tom.
Wow. That's great.
So that connection's never gone away from me.
Yeah. Well, and people don't realize that. I don't know how much it is still today, but how instrumental mayors were in determining the police force. Sometimes when I read back in history, a new mayor would get it and they would basically swear in a whole new police force before, I guess the term would be tenured.
Right.
Came into place where they couldn't do that.
Right.
But still a political process. So you did the police academy, you came out, and that would have been your duly sworn in what, 78?
77, December of 77. And then got my first assignment, which was to a patrol division in early 78.
So was the academy here?
Yes, it was conducted at Frederick Community College. We had an agreement with Frederick Community College.
Yeah.
John Clem was the academy instructor and supervisor.
Yeah.
And I worked a lot of years with John. And when we came on the street, they tried an experiment. They put all of us from the same academy on the same shift, and we were referred to by the rank and file as the Elites because they put us with quote unquote hand chosen other officers to work with.
Yeah.
And that's how we all got started. And it was right before what has become downtown Frederick started happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because when I would work a 4 to 12 shift, of course, when you're new, you spend a lot of time walking.
Right.
And Frederick was dark after 5 o'clock. The only place you could go to get warm was Grovey's liquor store.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
So in the academy at that time, where did you do the driver training and the range stuff?
The range was where it's located now. It was,
same place.
It was just
Linganore Road.
a different part of that area. It was down off of Linganore Road. Driver training, believe it or not, we did it out on TJ Drive.
Really?
When next to nothing was there.
Yeah, nothing was there. We used to ride dirt bikes out there.
Yep,
it was just fields.
We blocked it off, and that's where we drove. And we didn't get the level of training or the amount of driver training then that they get now.
Right. Different world.
But that's where we did it.
So I'm assuming then you probably had call boxes still, and you're still doing the radios.
Just at the square, we had portable radios, and we had but we had to call in every hour when you had a foot beat.
Mm-hmm.
You had to log your call, so you had to either have them call you what we would do is we'd have them call us at a payphone.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we would call in, and they would log it down on the log when we had an foot beat.
So walking the beat was still very much a part of community policing.
Oh, it was the heart of it.
Yep.
And the other heart of it was midnight shift was nothing.
Nothing going on.
Well, let me rephrase that. Midnight shift's focus, other than handling calls, was preventing burglaries.
Okay.
Checking your beat was top priority.
Yeah.
Top priority. And God help you if a couple places got broken into on your beat through the night.
You weren't doing your job.
You had some answering. You had some splaining to do. Absolutely.
So were you walking by yourself, or did you have a partner?
No, we didn't have partners. We had different section of the city. Of course, during an 8-hour shift, we would meet up and we would wander about. I remember one of my classmates and one of my closest police colleagues, Kenny Oland, who ultimately went to work for the state police. We would look for the oldest cemetery or the oldest gravestone that we could find on midnight shift. And the oldest one is behind the chapel there on East 2nd Street.
That's correct.
At Market Space.
Okay.
They're in the 1600s.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you actually had beats you were walking on the overnight show.
Yeah. Centertown North, Square Beat, Centertown South. Absolutely.
So what do you say to some that say, well, we should still have that? I mean, was that something indicative to the time, and now basically it's better to, I guess they do patrol in car because the vehicle has more assets to be able to, I don't know. I don't know what the right terminology is,
Sure.
but there's a lot of people that would always say, man, when the police officers were walking the beat, they knew what was going on. They were talking to people on the street. The people on the street knew them. The businesses knew them. There was more of a connection. I don't know if that's accurate or not because I'm not a police officer.
Yeah. It's funny because to hear from my own mouth the words "I'm old school" is a bit of a wake up call. But I believe in foot beats.
Yeah.
I think they're important, especially now in downtown Frederick when you have the amount of activity into the later hours of the night.
Right. A lot of traffic on Market Street after dark.
Foot
Sure.
traffic.
And people tell you things.
Yeah.
A lot of foot traffic. And you can get into stuff on foot.
Oh yeah.
You hang out in some of the parking lots next to the bars and things like that, and you never know what
people just start talking and they start telling you stuff. I'm sure you found that in policing.
Yeah.
That there's some people can't help themselves. Others start telling you everything.
That's exactly right.
And being out there,
catch them doing stuff, and you had the leeway to make a decision as to what you were going to do, if anything. And a lot of marijuana cigarettes got put into the storm drain back in that day.
Yeah.
Before things.
Not hard to find those, is
before
it?
things changed. You walk into a parking lot and you can smell it, and you walk up on it, and but you're not going to make a big deal out of it,
Right.
That changed. Because the drug changed when PCP came along.
I had
about that because that was dangerous.
We had Jason Keckler here, who was a former officer, former retired, running for House of Delegates, and he talked about the drug era of Frederick. I guess that was early 90s?
Well, that was for him. For me, it was in the 80s because we
was it bad?
It was prevalent. And as I just mentioned, the drug that was the dangerous drug was PCP, because PCP would cause people to do things that would get other people hurt. And that's what the challenge was. And then of course cocaine came along, and people died from using too much cocaine.
Yeah.
So what would happen when they used PCP? Didn't that make them like super strong or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
PCP, from what I remember, was developed to try to have a battlefield anesthetic where they could do minor surgery with them still be awake.
Wow.
So
Really?
the way that I remember it was PCP would affect the synapses in your brain, supposedly, that dealt with pain perception.
Okay.
But what would happen is, a guy'd be under the influence of PCP, and things would cause him to need to be arrested.
Yeah.
And
sometimes they were hard to arrest.
When he didn't want to go, the things that normally worked in getting them to comply didn't work with them.
Right. Didn't feel the pain.
Do you remember the street term, Billy? Let's see if Billy remembers the street term. What was it called?
The wood shampoo?
No, it was called Love Boat, if I remember.
Love
right?
boat.
Love
yeah,
Boat.
yeah. You meant the PCP, not
Yeah.
the method of.
No.
Not the method.
Good try, Billy.
Focused on the wrong topic.
So how bad, I do remember somewhat where there was some issues, I guess it was the late 80s, early 90s, where the drug open air market was pretty prevalent, that there was some concern. Or is that?
Yeah, it was. And they also always wanted us to crack the affluent part of the drug trade, which was very, very difficult to do, because it's much easier to take somebody into custody when they're standing on the corner selling it like it's open air, as
hand to hand or whatever,
as opposed to a group of people who are very careful and very, very clannish about who they deal with.
Yeah.
Now
they're doing it in their house,
and
they're orchestrating the big deal
that they know and trust,
right?
And they don't expand their opportunity to very candidly get arrested.
Yeah.
So I had Alan Winnick on, and he was, I guess you'd call him the first drug prosecutor or drug czar, where I forget who used that term. Someone told me that one time, said Alan Winnick was the first because he had the ability to prosecute on the state and I guess take it federal if needed. You were part of the first drug task force, correct?
Actually, I was. That's how Alan and my lifelong friendship started when he moved to Frederick in I think it was 78.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't stay working on that long, but I did do it. And the reason why I really got kind of chosen for it was because I could type a search warrant.
Really?
Yeah. My handwriting was so horrible that when I got into the 10th grade, I knew that I needed to take typing.
Yeah.
So that whatever I composed would be legible and readable. And back in those days, I mean, you type a search warrant on a Royal 440 manual typewriter with a gallon of whiteout sitting on your desk.
Yeah.
To make corrections.
So you had to know what you're doing.
Well, you just had to be able to compose sitting at a typewriter, and you had to be able to type at more than just the 2-finger method.
Right. Yeah.
What were some of your big busts? Can you talk about that, or without mentioning names? I guess.
Well, we didn't really. Our focus as local law enforcement, or I'd like to say local police service, was local stuff, and we did. I mean, I picked a lot of trash trying to get residue that would then allow us to get search warrants to get in, but a lot of it was flying by the seat of your pants. I spent a little time working with the state police as well in a training setting. A friend of mine by the name of Larry Folletta was the local trooper who was assigned to the drug unit, and he and I spent a lot of time together working together. Another guy that I worked with was a gentleman by the name of Kenny Pollock, who was a Parade Magazine Police Officer of the Year.
Really?
Once years ago.
Parade Magazine gave an award?
Absolutely. He was involved. He got in the middle of a high-speed pursuit and kept the family from getting smashed into.
Oh, my gosh.
During the pursuit. And he was honored as the Parade Police Officer of the Year.
How did he do that?
He heard it, and he was in his car, and he just basically positioned himself so that the vehicle being pursued couldn't crash into the innocent people.
Wow.
But I had a lot of wonderful relationships with people. Detectives like Jim Updegraff and Vic Wolf.
Yeah, Jim Updegraff. I forgot about it.
Jimmy Kearns, another guy by the name of Barry Shrum, who was Donnie Stevens.
Yeah.
All these guys, seriously, all these guys were, for me, the difference between taking a while to get accustomed and really learning how to do the job. I learned how to talk to people from Vic. I mean, Vic was master at getting people to talk to him. And he cracked a very, very monumental homicide case that we had.
What was that?
It was Brucci was the last name of the person who was murdered, and it went along for a long time, and it turned out to be over a bale of marijuana.
Wow. You kind of forget they come in bales. They come in bales.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't want to, I mean, because it's so notorious. I mean, I don't mind, going that far as the specifics.
Yeah.
And
so
really
what happened
to show how good of a detective Vic was?
Yeah.
Tremendous.
So what happened with the murder? I mean, people were always interested in that. So do you remember the details?
I mean, he was found in front of a television set, and for the longest time they couldn't come up with probable cause to make an arrest, but they ultimately did, and the guy did spend a
because he's.
It's because of Vic.
Yeah.
It's because of Vic. I mean, that's the bottom line.
So Keith just commented, because you can ask a question on the chat box. Keith had a question. What is your opinion on the new headquarters building? Because I'm assuming you worked in two headquarters, the one on North Market for a while, right?
Right.
The one at the courthouse.
Correct.
And then now there's a new headquarters. Do you have an opinion on it?
I've never been there.
Was it needed?
I think so. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I think so.
I agree.
I think that everything. Well, when you look at the volume of officers, when I come on a job, we had 73. We were authorized at 73.
You had 73 back in the 70s.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are they at now, ballpark, you think?
Oh, I have no clue. I've been retired since 2007.
Yeah, I know. I would assume it's probably at 300 plus.
So I don't know. But I think that it's necessary, and I'm glad that it's still in downtown.
That's why I was for it.
I do feel very strongly that it should be in downtown, and that people that need to get to the cops that have no other way to get there but walking there.
Yep.
Right.
Keith, I thought it was a choice that I scratched my head for the longest time, that I didn't understand why they didn't consider. Now, I think with the way they laid out that parking in the back and with that turn there, that sometimes can cause issues, but that's always going to be. But I was very happy that it stayed in downtown, because there was a talk about Monocacy Boulevard at one point. There was a talk at the old Potomac Edison. There was all kinds of different sites, but I don't think there was any question that they didn't need the space. I mean, they've been in that facility for a long time.
When did the one in the courthouse open? I mean, that opened.
Well,
oh my gosh.
Tom probably can tell the story, and I can tell you the story that I kind of heard also.
It opened, I think, around 80.
Yeah, long
around
time
80
ago.
as part of the complex.
So
which one are you? Which one
Well,
are you calling to mind?
I'm talking about the relocation of when they wanted to put the facility there, and at one point they talked about putting the detention center, the courthouse, the detention center on the back of it.
Oh, see, I don't remember that.
Because the old jail, which is now the rescue mission,
right?
Before it went out to Marcy's Choice, which I didn't even understand. Marcy's Choice was actually named after Galen's daughter, Marcy.
Yeah, Marcy Claggett.
But there was that whole big fight between the delegation, the city, the county, and with the code. And then there was a historical significance there because of John Hanson. So there was a little bit going around on that. And then even through when I served in office in Alderman, if you remember the Law Mall, now when they wanted to have everybody locate the one facility out there. So they've been talking about headquarters for a long time.
But when you talk about the Law Mall period of time, there was also the possibility that all the detectives would be in the same office.
Yep.
Because Randy Fries and I drove to a meeting up in Cumberland once to meet with their outfit that they called the C3I, Combined 3 Agency Investigative Unit. But when the decision was made that Frederick PD would not be part of what became a law enforcement center, apparently the Law Mall for the people that are there now is a little bit of a sore subject.
Yeah.
But, Steve Haller christened it the Law Mall.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I seen Steve a little while back, but so then you move into becoming a detective and eventually in charge of all the detectives, right?
Ultimately, yeah. My first boss in the detective division was Paul Mossberg. They had 2 Mossbergs on the job when I came on, and they were both called Paul, and they were first cousins. And there was Tall name. Paul and Small Paul.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Tall Paul was my first patrol supervisor, and Small Paul was the detective
inspector.
He was inspector. Yeah. He was promoted to inspector. That was a rank that they came up with under Major Maine. And the first inspector was Richard Ashton.
Correct.
He was in charge of the police academy. And then Inspector Mossberg held that rank until he retired, and then they put it to bed, so to speak. But Inspector Mossberg also is one of the people that really, really had a significant effect on the outcome of my career, because he encouraged me to get in the street and get your nose dirty.
Right.
And
go out there and learn it.
But he left me alone to do it.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I had a very, very healthy working relationship with him as one of his detectives. And I also, after he retired, was lucky enough to stay in touch with him.
And then you just basically stayed in that department when you went to that department, though, right?
Yes.
You stayed when you became a detective.
Well,
stayed.
Well, I was there until I was in detectives until 85, and then I went to training for.
Oh, okay.
So you were in the training division.
Yeah, I was in training from 85 to 91.
Okay.
And I also was a firearms instructor.
Okay.
The neat stories about the training years was the training section provided the police service for the fair.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I remember that.
So during that period, during the fair, of course, I was the supervisor, and I got to hang out with every one of the acts backstage.
Mm-hmm.
I had dinner with Tammy Wynette on her bus.
Wow, that's nice.
I got the Naomi and Winona Judd from the fairgrounds to what's now the Clarion, the night that they were there. Tom T. Hall, I got him off the bus on the stage. Randy Travis. My favorite story was Roy Clark, and I'll make it short. Roy played, and there was a gentleman who worked for Tim May. His name was Clayton Jacobs, I think was his name. Huge fan of Roy Clark. And they had a spread behind stage for between shows. And Mr. Jacobs approached Roy when Roy was filling his plate. And Roy stood there and talked with him about playing Brunswick.
Really?
Between shows the whole time.
Wow.
I spent the whole time with him reminiscing about playing shows in Brunswick.
Yeah.
From the time he came off the stage until it was time to go back on the stage.
A lot of country stars
played there.
A lot of country stars played Brunswick.
That was so gracious.
Yeah, he always seemed to have always willing to just talk to people, just down to earth guy.
One of my favorite stories of that period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Randy Travis, the girls were they were just
crazy.
And Loretta Lynn, she was out there signing autographs until every single autograph was signed.
Wow.
She looked at me, she said, "You're staying with me?" I said, "Yes, ma'am."
Yeah.
Until the last one signed.
Yeah.
So
sure.
You weren't part of the detail. I always heard a story at the fair, but it wasn't the fair. I guess it was the motorcycle races.
No, I didn't work the motorcycle races.
Okay. Well, I'd heard a story one time that all heck broke loose, and I guess a different story for different time. I don't know if you heard that one. I think it was even either the Hells Angels or the
Pagans.
Well, pagans were always
Pagans.
There.
Pagans.
Yeah.
Well, the Pagans and Hells Angels were supposed to. Apparently, it was a free for all out there a little bit during the motorcycle races.
Yeah, I remember hearing about it, but I wasn't. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, the girl took her top off.
Yes,
in front of the chief.
That's correct. That's what I wanted you to say.
The chief of police.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That was over.
Yeah.
From there,
all went south.
Yes, it all went south. And you served under Chief Richard Ashton, and then you served under. After that would have been Chief Ray Raffensperger.
That's right.
And then after that was Chief.
Kim Dunn.
No.
Well, Chief Harold Domer.
Yes, but there was another one. Or that guy was after Dine. That's the one I'm losing track of. There was someone after Dine. There was somebody that was after Dine in between.
I mentioned Harold Domer because he was the acting chief.
Correct.
And he was a great boss. The most fair boss.
A lot of people felt he should have gotten that shot.
Yeah.
At least gotten the opportunity.
Yeah.
He was a good guy.
Yeah.
But that just shows you how when a local newspaper and a local columnist and get involved.
So I'll tell you one on me, though. So they're up in John Hanson looking for guys selling drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And one got away. And Bob Hargis and I are walking around Trail Avenue looking for the guy to see if he'd come out of there, if we could catch him. And next thing you know, he comes out of the shadows, and I take off after him. And the moment he turned to give up, I was airborne. And we went to the ground, and we got him in handcuffs. And Bob said, "That one will definitely make the highlights highlights reel for this weekend. Yeah.
Did you have a favorite chief, or do you not want to get into that? I mean, obviously you served under, you said, Chief Ashton, Chief Ravensburger, Harold Chief Domer a couple times, then Chief Kim Dine, and then you retired under Dine, right?
Right. Yeah.
I used to tell people this much. I was not a Kim Dine fan.
Yeah.
But that guy was everywhere. One thing I appreciate more now about Kim Dine that I didn't appreciate then was you did see that guy everywhere. You saw that. You saw him out and about.
Absolutely.
Amongst people. And you still do today.
You still see him more than the chief
so it
of
must
police,
be just
whoever might be at the time.
Well, it's just part of his personality, but he was good at it.
Yeah.
He was very personable. He was very, he was a people type person, and he loved Frederick. He still does.
Still does.
And the thing about the years with Chief Dine that was most beneficial for me was I got to meet people. I met Terry Gaynor, who was the chief of the National Capital Park Police. We worked George W. Bush's second inauguration on the parade route.
Oh, so you guys went down there?
Yeah, we worked it. And,
wow.
And I got to, Chief Chuck Ramsey, he walked that parade line and shook the hand of every single police officer standing in the cold.
Wow.
Waiting for the parade.
Yeah, that's saying something.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Without question. Mm-hmm. And I met Ronan Santa, who was a correspondent. I used to hear him on Imus in the morning.
Yeah.
And I found him a bathroom because he was in need of a bathroom.
He needed a little help.
Every cop who has a beat knows where the closest bathroom.
Right. You figure that stuff out first.
That's survival.
Yeah.
So you're listening to the last of the good old boys. Billy's with me, of course, Tom Chase, talking about his life and times here in the city of Frederick. Of course, he served as a police officer all the way up through lieutenant until he retired in 2007. So we got about 12 minutes, 13 minutes. I got a couple things I want to ask you about the flood.
Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, again, you got to remember, I was alive.
Sure.
But, I mean, all I can do is make reference of pictures, and I hear stories that it was just, you can look at the pictures, but it's unimaginable to understand the devastation that water created.
So
what year was it?
It was 76.
76.
What we had going for us, I was in the fire department then. I was a volunteer fireman before I became a policeman. And what we had going for us was we had Agnes that happened in 72. So I think we all had, and I wasn't a fireman then, but I do think that everybody who had been a fireman then knew what was going to happen the next time. Where are the issues? I mean, the water was, that parking lot that is near La Paz, between La Paz and the old Landis jewelry store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Water was flowing through there. I mean,
like across the street from Wags.
Yes. Tremendous velocity. I mean, It had enough power where canoes got loosened from where they were at Delphi's store and got pinned underneath the bridge, and aluminum canoes bowed in half.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
so a lot of water.
Absolutely.
Like white water.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the two famous pictures, the one with the car on the parking meter that Amos Brown took, I mean, obviously the car was lifted up and then came to rest on the parking meter. The other one, of course, here's the rest of the story on the one with the two children being carried up the street by Frankie Blank, Buddy Blank, and George Hefner.
Yeah.
Behind them, lugging their grandfather up the street, was me and Johnny Dieter.
Really? That's great.
Yeah.
So one person was carrying the kids, the other was carrying the grandfather.
Johnny and I had the heavy load.
Right.
Yeah, we had him by his belt and by his armpits. We were dragging him up the street and water up up to our nipple line.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So chest deep. Chest deep. So where
Patrick
were you
Street.
Dragging them from? Where did you find them?
Where they lived.
Where did they live down there?
They lived like near where JoJo's is.
Okay.
In the high
there was
ground.
Water up to your chest.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, easy.
By JoJo's.
Oh, yeah.
You can still go downtown in some of the buildings
Oh, my
and have the
gosh.
markings on the side where they mark the waters.
Yeah.
one of the legendary stories that I used to always hear, whether it's folklore or not, was my great uncle was Charlie Kidd, and they lived on the second floor.
Yeah.
And so they sent a canoe to get Charlie and his wife, and he said, no. You need to go get another boat. What do you mean? Apparently, he kept all his stash up there, his money. Had bags of money and change.
Phil Mastrino took me in there when I was 16 to place a bet.
Kids, yeah.
Kids Cafe.
Well, I tell you, when they remodeled at one point, they took the bulkhead, and when they took the bulkhead, you could still see where they were writing. There were still some images of where they wrote down the horse bets.
Yeah.
But people don't realize he'd open up 4:35, and people go in there for a fried egg sandwich, a shot of Budweiser, and they go to their construction, place a bet, go there, and then be back in there. But the word was he said go get another boat.
Well,
which
they launched a stern drive at the Square Corner to go get Mr. Gordon and his mom.
Wow,
because they were there. And the picture that I always love that's in the book that the News Post published shows Mutt Dieter, wonderful man, Mutt Dieter, out there in his John boat in the East Patrick Street parking lot. What they don't know is he was hung up on parking meters. His motor, the motor kept banging up against the parking meters as he was trying to motivate.
Because they were underwater.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And people don't remember that when the Weinberg Center got, flooded out, whatnot, they weren't showing like some of the top performing acts in terms of
movie theater, and they were right.
Yeah, a little soft, but yeah. Anyway, so that was the whole premise was,
at the time it was the only fans of the day.
Well, that whole market changed because if you go back in history, there was 3 or 4 movie theaters in downtown Frederick. I mean, across the street from where we sit was a bowling alley.
That's right.
I remember that.
And there were several.
Yeah. I arrested a guy for shooting his wife in that bowling alley.
Yeah.
He shot his wife in the bowling alley?
No, he shot his wife in an alley.
Okay.
But I got the call that he was at the bowling alley.
Exactly.
All right.
So I showed up and almost got him to admit to doing it.
Wow.
So what are some of the, we've got about another 8-9 minutes. What were some of the cases that you worked on that really either you're proud to solve or still today you scratch their head and say, I know this is the person who did this, but I just couldn't prove it. Did you have any of those?
Well, I mean, you always have them because I've always been very careful about making sure that if I arrested them, they did it.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want anyone to falsely accuse.
Right. That's the worst thing in the world. I think the case that I am most proud of is one where a lady was loading her groceries at the Safeway store, which is where the co-op is now,
So which street is that?
The second Safeway, 7th and Market. 7th Street,
7th Street, Fairview.
7th,
yeah.
She was abducted.
From the Safeway there?
Yes.
Okay.
She was held all night.
Yeah.
And fortunately, the guy that abducted her let her go. And I was driving Market Street going to lunch, and I saw a guy whom I had a reason to keep an eye on, is the best way to describe it. So I get done lunch, I get a phone call from Dave Dinges, who was with the sheriff's office. He was a detective at the sheriff's office, to tell me that they had been contacted by this lady because she worked in Walkersville and she got released by him. And first thought was, they're going to fire me. So she went to work. Well, make a long story short, when Dave starts describing who she said did it, I mean, that's the guy I passed on Market Street coming back from lunch. So, and Allison, I mentioned Allison earlier with the drug task force. Allison was involved in that case. And we got together, we put our heads together, and I interviewed the victim. We put together what was called an identikit composite, where you put facial features on top of each other with plastic foils. Mm-hmm. And really, you don't do that to identify the person. You do that to stimulate their memory, so that if they see a picture, so then I showed her 6 pictures, and she picked him right out.
Wow!
And I knew she would because of the amount of time that she spent with him. So Barry Horner and I went to get him the next morning, and Barry and I were lucky because it went the easy way. We didn't have to. I mean, there was in today's world, and I don't mean to sensationalize it, but in today's world, they'd have broken down his door. They'd have had a SWAT team. They'd have done all that stuff.
Right.
Barry and I just went and knocked on the door and talked him into coming up to the station to get it taken care of.
Right. Right. You don't always have to beat down the door.
And that guy's still in jail because every once in a while I'll hit the Maryland inmate locator.
Mm-hmm.
So
what was the reason for his abduction? Did you?
He kept her all night and assaulted her.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
Like I said,
bad people out there.
No, I mean, not as many as there. Yeah, are. That one was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
That one was horrible.
Yeah.
was there any cases that, like I said, that you didn't get a happy result, and you kind of?
I have never been that way.
Okay.
It was, it's all. None of it's personal. None of it's personal. If you go to my Facebook page right now and you look at my friends, and I got 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
There are more people I arrested on those 1,000 than people I work with.
Yeah.
Wow.
So have people that you arrested,
Seriously.
tell us the story. Have you seen anyone that you arrested that came up to you later and said,
I used to drink beer with them.
really?
Oh, yeah.
What happened there?
It was an arrest in Saginaw, and it went bad, and we had to take a few people there. And this guy, I arrested him and got him in the backseat of the car, and they tried to take him out of the car while we were dealing with other people. And while I was putting him back in the seat, he kicked me in the face. Fortunately, he was wearing Chuck Taylor Converse.
Yeah.
Not working boots.
Right.
But years later, I became acquainted with him, and we used to drink beer together at the Roll Bar.
That's great.
Yeah.
So he turned it around.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
He was just home from being in the military, and his head was in a certain place.
Right. Right.
But he and I are friends. Absolutely. Friends.
That's great.
So before we got about 2 minutes left before we wrap it up. So now you're still doing private investigating work.
I just retired.
You retired from that too?
I retired in September.
How old are you, Tom?
70.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I would never guess that.
I decided at 70 years of age that enough's enough. And fortunately, my lovely bride, Amy, has made things in the household as far as the monthly bills and things that we can do it.
Oh, that's great.
I work 2 days a week for the county, delivering Meals on Wheels.
Good for you.
Oh, great.
And I shovel manure at a horse farm 1 day a week.
Yeah.
In the loafing shed. I'm the manure control.
Yeah.
Farm.
Do you ride horses, or you just like being around the farm?
I did. I used to board my horse at this particular farm.
Okay.
I boarded her there for 18 years.
I remember when the old Safeway was a horse place for Hood College.
Well, Hood College had the riding stables
Yeah,
there.
the riding stables.
Krebs Benchoff was the riding master, and his wife, Mrs. Benchoff. I remember her from my childhood as well. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's great.
I thank you for coming on and sharing some insights and some stories.
I love telling stories, especially about my hometown, our hometown, and the people that have made our hometown what it is, and why everybody else wants to come here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did we miss anything? Was there anything you wanted? Did we miss anything?
I wanted to talk a little bit about tennis. That's how I met your dad.
We'll talk about it. We'll go a little longer.
So you were a tennis player?
Yeah, my dad played tennis, and I played tennis with him. And there was a gentleman by the name of James Mitchell, who Mr. Radcliffe brought here.
I know the Radcliffes. I played tennis with him.
To teach lessons.
Okay.
And your dad took lessons from him, and I used to warm up his lessons. So he'd have a lesson at 10, and the 10:30 lesson, I would warm that lesson up, and then I would get free lessons.
Oh, that's great.
From Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell came from Richmond. He taught Arthur Ashe.
Wow.
As a child.
Wow.
Yeah.
The only thing I can remember about
Famous guy.
Tennis stories is Reverend Phil Fogarty.
Yep.
I think is who it was.
Yeah.
They used to, go and play
he
tennis.
played a lot.
Like, so I'm like, trying to,
Played a lot.
Reverend's played tennis, but I remember, and Billy, you played tennis.
Oh yeah.
But they used to have some of those tennis tournaments down Baker Park, and I mean, they were
big.
They were big, well attended.
Yeah.
And, of course, you got the tennis barn. I'm sure you played out there a little bit.
I did. I played when it was at the Bubble up on 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when Mr. Dixon moved it out there on the Mount Zion Road. Sure.
Did you ever play Lynn Shanton?
Yes.
I used to play Lynn a lot.
He was with our group for a period of time.
Yeah, he was
My
good.
dad and myself, Dr. Perry Jr., Austin Perry,
Yeah.
the best naturally talented tennis player I ever played.
Really? I never played with him.
He's small in stature, but I'm telling you what, the guy hits an overhead.
Crushes it.
He gets off the ground and he just as good as Jimmy Connors.
Wow.
As far as I'm concerned. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had so much fun with him.
Yeah. A lot of good times.
Oh,
A
absolutely.
lot of good tennis players in Frederick.
Yes. Yeah. I won the City Juniors Championship in 1970.
Wow.
Really?
The 13-15 age group.
That's
I
cool.
won that year.
Was that a separate tournament than the one downtown now?
That was basically the beginning of that.
Okay. That's how it started.
They had the Richard Remsburg doubles, and then they had the singles division.
Yeah.
And they had 13-50 division and the 16-18 and the adults.
Who was the female I used to always remember with? When Kitty Booza was really
Kitty
jumping.
Booza. Stephanie Jordan used to play tennis with her.
Yeah.
They were partners.
Yeah.
John Kepke.
Yep.
Kepke was good.
Yeah.
The Radcliffes were always good.
Oh, I played in a doubles group with Mr. Radcliffe and Lee
Yeah.
and Andy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Alia Fructe,
Mhm.
Yep.
who's a very talented musician.
He was
by
my
the way.
doctor for a while.
Yeah, well, he joined Dad's practice. He was, I think, the last of them. Dad said that when he graduated from the University of Virginia, he wore a path between his seat and the stage at the baccalaureate night, getting the awards.
That's fun. So back in your day, I know, like in my time, the Grimshaws, like they played at Penn
They were
State
after me.
in
They were
Connecticut.
after me. They were
Yeah,
after me.
University of Connecticut, Penn State, had some University of Maryland guys that were from Frederick.
Yeah.
Were there any, D1 people back in your time?
Really, the Frederick, the best tennis player in Frederick for decades was Phil Hammond.
Yes. Yes. Phil was great.
Yeah, Phil was a very, very talented, very, very successful tennis player.
But he was always, we were just starting out, in high school or whatever. And
Well, that's 'cause
we'd
the
go
age
down there and
difference. Right.
hit and everything. And Phil would come over and
Yeah.
he'd say, here, why don't you warm up with me? That kind of stuff. Just
I was lucky enough to play a little bit with Lloyd Rice, who was known as Slugger.
Yeah.
He was.
That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Even though his talent level was significantly above mine. And I'll tell you, somebody else I played a lot with was Dr. Bob Turner, who built your
Yeah.
home.
That's right.
Who built
Wow.
your home.
Yeah.
Wonderful man. Wonderful.
Died in a motorcycle
He
accident.
died in a
didn't he?
motorcycle accident.
Oh, no.
Yes. he
Yeah.
did. Yeah. Wonderful man. Such wonderful memories.
Well, Tom, I want to thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And again, every Wednesday, we sign on the Last of the Good Old Boys. We talk to people who have helped make Frederick what it is and people who want to make it what it will become. So we have a variety of guests. We don't lean right, lean left. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent. We're really talking Frederick stuff. We'll pick your mind with some current events and all that good stuff. But we're just here to have some good fun and talk about Frederick memories and what Frederick will look like in the future. So for Billy Shreve, and I want to thank our guest, Tom Chase. Everybody have a wonderful night and a safe evening.
That's this week's conversation on The Last of the Good Old Boys. Join the discussion, drop your questions and comments, and be part of the conversation. Catch us live Wednesdays at 6 p.m. on the Everything Frederick Live YouTube channel, right here from Studio 401.